Hello, and welcome to Vita COLITUR. I'm Lynn Morgan-Rosser. So, what exactly is this channel about? What is Vita COLITUR? Simply put, it's about intentionally, actively creating a life of fulfillment, of depth, meaning, and purpose. Vita COLITUR means embodying a life well lived. But what does Vita COLITUR literally and figuratively mean? Why did I choose this rather difficult to remember name for my channel and my business? And how am I going to accomplish creating this life well lived? Stick with me a few minutes and I'll answer both of those questions. So there are layers to this name. Vita COLITUR is both an acronym and a Latin phrase. The acronym means creating our lives is the ultimate art, with a slight cheat at the end to use the R for art. Now, you may have already seen this with the logo, and I've said it several times in my videos. The literal meaning is also important. In Latin, vita means life, and colitur is a conjugation of the root verb colo or colere, which has a primary meaning of to till or to cultivate. So colitur translates directly to is cultivated, which simply means to promote growth. So put together with vita, it means life is cultivated, but it has several other meanings and connotations as well. And all of them are relevant to the idea of creating our lives with depth, meaning, and purpose. Meanings such as to inhabit, to tend or care for, to foster, to worship, as in to honor and revere. So, in the context of Vita COLITUR, life is inhabited, as in a place where someone or something lives. And not only could it mean a home or property, but our physical bodies and the embodiment of who we are and how we build our lives as well. Life is worshipped. Now, in the case of Vita COLITUR, it isn't meant religiously. Instead, it relates to showing honor, deep respect or reverence towards our lives and life on planet Earth in general. To cherish and treasure, and to place an extremely high value on our lives and the lives of others and on the process of living, growing, and loving during our limited time here. Life is tended, meaning taking care of things, fostering positive growth, maintaining them, doing the tender work of care, nurturing, protecting, weeding out things that harm, and feeding those things that will, in turn, help us to grow and sustain a beautiful, fulfilled life. And the word cultivated relates not just to growing crops, but to growing ourselves. It's an intentional act requiring our labor, attention, and resources. We cultivate qualities, skills, talents, interests, art, ideas, and ideals. We enrich ourselves through education and cultivate our knowledge and our minds. We cultivate relationships and communities. We cultivate our personal and family resources. We cultivate spiritual attributes and beliefs. We cultivate our physical bodies and appearance, our living spaces and our work. We cultivate our lives. A word related to cultivate is culture. They have the same Latin root, and culture inevitably brings us back to art, literature, language, music, architecture, food, and all the elements that make up our culture. And then there's our personal history, where we live, where and when we grew up, and the habits, beliefs, and regional and family influences that shape us, for better or worse. This part of culture is our inheritance from the world, and we get to choose what we keep and what we release, what we honor and what we let go of. And so, I hope you're beginning to see why Vita COLITUR turned out to be a pretty perfect name for what I'm intending to explore here. The story of how it came to be goes back to a bit of synchronicity and serendipity. I had a conversation over lunch several years ago when I was just beginning to try and give shape to this vast thing I was developing in my head. I only had the first seed of it in my mind when I was talking with Donna Williams, the award-winning author of The Night Field and 2 other novels, whom I've since interviewed for Vita COLITUR. We were discussing this little idea, this seed that I felt was more than I could articulate at the time. I was talking about, maybe a podcast or something where I interview artists about how they live their lives and create and manage to make a living and stay true to themselves, that sort of thing. And I wanted to be more, too, to connect to other things, to how we live our lives. When she casually said the phrase, creating our lives is the ultimate art. It was a eureka moment. I immediately wrote it down, and then later, I had the thought to see if I could find any sort of acronym that it could be rather than just a motto. There it was, COLITUR. It had a meaning and depth that would bring to life and inform everything else I did going forward with my budding idea. You see, I had originally started with this thought of artists as guides to a way of creating and living a unique life. And then it blossomed to include my fascination with personal development, with topics as diverse as neuroscience and sacred geometry, and wanting to fully understand myself and how best to take my wild mind and multiple yearnings and create a life of art, music, poetry, harmony, family, friends, wisdom, and love that I would feel truly complete living. The artists I've interviewed still play that role. They are guides in terms of several things: the creative process, inspiration, editing and weeding out, scheduling, habits, etc. And I'll be sharing more of the wisdom I've gleaned from interviews I did with Donna Glee and other brilliant artists. When it comes to creativity, to bringing something from the imagination and birthing it into the world, artists have both learned craft and intuitive skills that can translate into any kind of creating, whether it's a novel or a vision of how you want to live your life. So now you know. From the initial budding spark of an idea to an offhand comment from a brilliant woman over lunch, to this stage, the sharing of ideas through video, and eventually to the full-blown, full-bloom garden that is the whole of Vita COLITUR. And that is what I will cover in part 2 of What is Vita COLITUR? That will be an in-depth look at the process I've cultivated over many years that directly speaks to creating our lives and how everything I'm doing on this channel fits together. I've already put up videos that are directly related to parts of that whole, such as the Kamana practices, the Love Runs Through It All concept, and the mini workshops, as well as artist interviews that serve as an in-depth guide to the creative process and many other aspects of creating our lives, from the diverse perspectives of people who live very unique lives that they've created for themselves. And now, for the creative part of the episode. In my song cycle that I wrote for Donna Williams, The Night Field, I have a song titled What You Sow. It has a darker meaning, at least in part. In the story, the heroine is forced to labor in monoculture fields that are heavily coated with illness-bringing pesticides. So, at first, the song speaks to the darker side of humanity, to the destructive things we humans can grow through our ignorance or greed, the shadow side. Shadows are also part of our growth, and we live in a world that can be full of them. But the song also gives the hope that even if we have grown things we don't want, we can plant something new and better. The option to cultivate our lives in a new and healthy way, in the truest sense of the word, with honor, reverence, integrity, and care, is still there. This is the hope of the night field, and this is my song, What You Sow.
What is it that they're weaving? What strange dreams guide their eyes? What is the worth of this harvest, wrestled from the earth with the fiber of our lives? Oh, 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 my sinews and my bones, you hang them in your windows. Oh, 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 my breath and my soul, you wear them in your finest clothes. Still I believe, my arms outstretched like wings, oh, for tomorrow, when I catch the breeze, I will take flight. Be careful of the seeds you sow. Be careful what you sacrifice. Be careful how you make them grow, for the harvest will come. I am the harbinger, and the harvest will come. I am the harbinger, and the harvest will come. I am the harbinger, and the harvest will come, and the harvest will come. Oh, 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 my strength and my hope are bled from me row by row. Oh, 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 when life comes and goes, you set it by the wagon load. And still I believe, my arms outstretched like wings, oh, for tomorrow, when I catch the breeze, I will take flight. Be careful of the seeds you sow. Be careful what you sacrifice. Be careful how you make them grow, for the harvest will come. I am the harbinger, and the harvest will come. I am the harbinger, and the harvest will come. I am the harbinger, and the harvest will come. I am the harbinger, and the harvest will come, and the harvest will come, and the harvest will come, and the harvest will come.
Today's challenge is twofold. First, if you are so inclined, I'd like you to write down what you consider to be some of the important parts that make up your personal culture. What are your roots? Where do you come from? And secondly, to take some time to reflect on how that culture has shaped you in ways that you want to integrate and ways that you would rather release. At the end of the reflection, take time to condense your thoughts into a list of grow and let go. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. I wish you a beautiful, kind, creative time until I see you again on another episode of Vita COLITUR.